Any questions?
Not a question, I just wanted to add something. When you talk about Declaration of Independence, it kind of bring me back all the way to Haiti, because Haiti was the first country who took its independence in 1802. But because we never really got connected to the source, and we can never make any progress. I guess what I mean by that, the source would be, if I'm talking about in Haiti context, would be understand how did the French people did it. We never really
like
took the
that.
time to understand their principles,
That's good.
their laws. We just took over. And then we took over without the true knowledge of how to do it, and we still the
Boy,
same
that's
spot.
really recorded. It's recorded?
Yeah.
Wow,
so
that's cool.
That's
Good
what I
job.
get out of it.
That's amazing. You get it, guys? That means to go back, and it's true. I mean, we got a whole bunch of ignorant people in government over there. We just wanted to be independent, but we didn't have the material and the resources to do it effectively. That's good. Great, great. Anybody else?
Children do the same thing. When they
Give it to. Yeah, I want you to speak on it.
children basically do the same thing when they rebel against their parents and they say, you know what, I want to be an adult, I'm going to do it my way, but they never took time to actually take notice of how parents did it or how successful people or how they were out on their own. They do it more so just to, I'm going to live free, and most of the time it ends up crashing and burning. Instead of, if I want to live like Robert, I need to know how Robert operates. You know, not just because I see Robert in a nice, clean white shirt every day. You know, they don't clean themselves.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate. Sometimes we have to learn that way. Instead of, and that's why Solomon is actually very unique. He discovered that lesson very early. He says, listen, guys, tie your parents, your mother and father's instruction around your neck. He goes, I'm telling you, it's going to do you good. They're not going to mislead you. You know, in other words, his parents, you know, there's some parents here that are exceptions, but he's saying, in other words, he's saying, learn this stuff early. Remember your Creator. If you don't have good parents, go remember your Creator while you are young, lest the days come when you get old and you say, I have no pleasure in this. So that's very, very true. And while you were talking, I was actually thinking about something. I was thinking about Haiti. While you were talking, the same thing. He took it to children. It's the same principle that's happening in a nation. Same thing. He took it to children, and she sees it from a national perspective. Now they have to hire people like Dr. Miles Monroe or us to go in there and teach it to them. They could have had it before. They could have got back and had it before, maybe even taught it to us. But now we got to go back because we try to progress without the source. And we got it all wrong, and now we need to be re-educated. Say prefix, re-educated, taught again. Any other questions or any other inputs?
Well, no, nothing on the mic. Good, because just say thanks because it's the first message on Easter I've heard that spoke about the resurrection without cross, Calvary, blood.
That needs to be said.
That's good. Say that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay. This is the first Easter teaching that I've heard about the resurrection that had nothing to do with blood, cross, and Calvary, and everything else, but really what it represents, and what it was supposed to mean. And so it's refreshing because it's like, man, I almost have to be, I got to be honest. I was like, okay, when's the cross and Calvary gonna come, up in somewhere in this? But it never happened because that's not the point of it.
I think I got another slide with blood. Hold on.
So it just, for me, it just confirms more and more each time as I come here more and more.
That's really, really
is
cool.
that this is actually this is where it's supposed to be at, because it makes sense. It just, and you know what? To be honest with you, you don't have to be religious to understand this. I mean,
No.
if you're searching and you really are tired of the whole mundane, religiosity, or even just not having, finding that purpose in life, you can understand this. I mean, these are words that you can be like, yeah, you're right. We have to go back to the source, to what what makes things work well, because obviously we live in a country that has issues. And it's funny because me and my wife, we spoke this morning. I go, what's funny is we have all these dysfunctions in this country, and yet we call this country great. I go, man, I just wish somebody could just snap out of it, and that's a leader, that's whatever. But it's funny because when is this gonna stop? When will it blow up in our face and say, you know what? Come on, guys, we need to get our act together. This is not working out the way that they keep saying, in the media or in the government. I think it is, though. I think I think people are, well, I look at us, that God's raising people that will do that, but we're in a season of teaching and learning, because we have to know what we're saying before we are on a platform like that, because that's what we're going after, the religion and the family and the education and the government system, the media, entertainment, and business. So before we can go into those places, we got to know what we're talking about.
That's good.
So that's the answer.
Hey, while you're speaking and while we're going through this right now, I'm excited when Trista gets back and we start getting into this governmental training. I see it like it's really, whoa, I'm blowing up on the inside right now. I see it now, like you guys talking. I could see more of it. I really do see it, and it's a powerful thing. I mean, government. I mean, it's a powerful thing. People like us, we're gonna do it. This is happening. This is rolling. This is a. I wanted to, Christoph, do you get something out of this? Yeah. Give Christoph the microphone real quick. I want to ask you a question. Do you this whole national thing that we're talking about? I know that you're observing a little through television and maybe what you see in school. What areas do you think our nation needs to be addressed? What issues should we be addressing right now?
I don't know.
What about school, the system? Do you feel that these principles could actually make a better society?
Yeah.
In what way? In a nutshell, you don't have to talk a lot, just in a nutshell.
I don't.
Okay, you can take the microphone from him. I almost got him to speak. I did that on purpose.
I'll say something.
Now, I'm going to say something to Christoph. Man, I see a leader in you, man. And I know you're not speaking right now, but when you do speak, you're going to leave a lot of us bombarded because there's fresh information in you. How old are you?
13.
Shoot, that's awesome. That's really cool. I can't wait to see your time. I can't wait to see your time. Give the microphone to Kathleen. I'm sorry for putting you, okay, I'm sorry for putting you in the spot like that, Christoph. You see what I was trying to do, right? It's going to happen real soon, too. Watch. Anyway, let's go ahead. Say.
I just want to say that I don't believe in the Bible, so I believe in Jesus. So I come from a different path. But I don't like to give compliments to people. But I like that, because that's going back to what he said. That is the first explanation without all of that, but it broke it down in a way for someone who doesn't believe in the Bible. I can apply that, and I like that, how you broke the meanings of the word, because here, we're all intelligent. I'm intelligent. I had a total different assumption of what resurrection and regress and all that meant, and when you broke it down, I like that. That's really interesting, because for someone who doesn't believe in the Bible, I can apply that and I get the message. I like that, and that's coming from somebody on the outside. So
And have your kids watched the Chronicles of Narnia?
Yes.
It's awesome, huh?
Yes.
Yes, because I'm telling you,
Yeah,
that's the best explanation for a resurrection for me.
Yeah.
That's more than any religious movie that I have ever watched. I was in tears. I was like, something lit up on the inside of me. I said to God, I got it. I got it through a little cartoon like that. And we respect the fact that she says she doesn't believe in the Bible, and it's all good. It's all good, because a lot of times, when you're a product of your environment and people have been preaching in one way, and it's just, I understand. I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, but sometimes the way it comes across with some people, it's all good. But as long as the principles work, you know what I'm saying? As long as the principles work, God has a way. Yep, I know God has a way, because the truth is this, and we teach this in our kingdom session, Tristan and I, Jesus is really the most, because Jesus is actually the red print in the Bible. And he don't lie. But one thing is true, he's very misunderstood and misinterpreted. A lot of people are actually misinterpreting him and misrepresenting him, because they're not looking at this from a kingdom perspective. We're learning how to see this from a kingdom perspective, and we can find the truth in the scriptures. And it's just a matter of when she gets it, like right now she agrees with the principles, she's gonna get it. And it's okay, and we respect the fact that you don't.
I almost kind of, I do pray at night, and I kind of almost need like what he did with Lazarus. Where I
A wake-up call. Sure, we all do.
I would like that, and it would probably bring me more understanding.
Good. And just so you know,
But you get it.
give Sean the microphone.
He said that like a couple years ago.
But you get it. You get it. Believe it or not.
I've been through all these churches. My mom is Roman Catholic from Italy. And then I was heavily involved in the church, and they all said the same thing. And I maybe because I should have been dead a couple times, I'm alive now, so maybe that's that. But I don't see it like that.
And it's okay. What she's saying basically was the last verse that I shared with you guys. If
I've
the
read that
spirit,
part in the Bible.
Yep. If the spirit of him who raised up Jesus Christ from the dead lives in you, he who raised Christ from the dead shall also give life to your mortal bodies because of the spirit that lives in you. So every now and then, we all need a spiritual awakening. We all need a spiritual resurrection. And that happened to me at 18 years old. It really happened to me. I wasn't even planning to go to a church. I was dressed up with my disco pants. I had a long shag. I had a ripped up shirt, graffiti. My pants had graffiti on the side, and it was Friday night. I was about to go to the Fun House in New York City on 11th Avenue and 26th Street. You remember the Fun House? Heartthrobs? Xavier? Yeah. That's where I used to party. I was about to go there, but the guy, he was so nice to me. He said to me, Robert, let's go to church. I said, darn it. 7 o'clock? Well, I know that we start partying at 11 o'clock. I still have time to take the train and get there. So this guy's been so nice to me, speaking to me all the while, all these days. I said, to please him, let me say yes, even though I didn't want to go. And I sat there and listened to a message from a Spanish Puerto Rican man, evangelist, that was visiting that church, who didn't know me. I'd never been to an evangelical church in my life, and that was my wake-up call. The guy spoke my whole life without no one telling him. I said, now I know this is either spooky, or this guy gossiped and told him everything about me before I got here, or God really exists and he used this man as an instrument to get to me. And that was my wake-up call over there. From there on, you know what I did? I prayed till 3 o'clock in the morning every day for like months at a time. And I got closer. He was drawing me closer to himself based on that little wake-up call that I had there. So I agree 100%. And that's the kind of stuff that God does too. Go ahead, Xavier.
I was at a bus stop. I was 18 years old, and we had just missed the bus stop to go to the teenage club. And this is way before I even went to church or even just nothing, right? And I'm cussing up a storm, and I'm just cussing and cussing. I mean, just mad. Here comes this guy and this group of guys, and they're passing out tracts. He has his tracts. So I took a tract. And I just, okay, yeah. So I flip it, and true story, the tract goes, God's last name is not damn it. I'm not lying, man. You should have seen me. I was like...
I remember that track.
And I'm looking for the guy who gave it to me, and I couldn't find him. He was gone. I was like, and I looked, and my guys were like, what's wrong? Going, nothing. And I was 18. I didn't get saved till like another year and a half later. From that day forward, I'm not lying to you. From that day forward, I have never taken God's name in vain with those words. In all my anger and none of that, because I remembered, God's like, listen, it's time to stop. Okay, enough's enough. Like it's done. And then I remembered that when I got saved, I was like, he goes, I've been with you the whole time. There's a point where you just need to stop. And I was like, whoa. So I got it. I was like,
that's really cool.
And it kept me in control. True story. True story.
We call that an epiphany. Okay, so I think we just want to hear one thing from either Uni or Brittany, or both of them at the same time.
I went to a Jehovah's Witness thing the other day. My neighbor is part of the...
Were you preaching up in that piece?
No preaching. I just sat there and sat through the whole last meal, the last dinner, and how they believe they're just gonna stay here. And I get that, that's awesome. But I've never been I was kind of blank. The people were really nice, but they sort of just swarmed on me so quickly that I was like, okay. I didn't know what to do or where to go. And they were really friendly and nice, but at the same time, it kind of felt
religious.
Really scary. Really frightening. If I had been invited and I had never had any kind of religious background whatsoever, I would not have made it through 5 minutes of being in there. No. I got nothing from it. Yeah. I left there, I'm like, that was nice. I held the cup of wine and I passed it. No drinking from it. I held the bread, I passed it. They have real wine. You don't drink from it, though. You don't drink. You don't drink from it. There's no drinking from it. You touch it because only, they don't believe that they're going to heaven. They're to stay here. That's it. So they're not allowed to drink from it. They just pass it on in honor. They just touch the plate and pass it. I was like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, do I take, because I've been through commandment before, and you eat the bread and you pass it. And I was like, do I eat it? Do I pass it? And no, you just pass it. I'm like, okay. A whole hour and a half I wasted because I was trying to be nice to my neighbor, but
Trista will say, Trisha was like, Robert, is God sending you there? Or are you going to get something out of there? She goes, man, your time is valuable. Don't go then. That's how Trisha talks. And she's right. And what I did was I actually got invited to a full homosexual church. And all, even the pastor's homosexual, not married either. He's sinning. He's actually with another guy, but he's not married with the other guy. Anyway, the reason I went was because when Mario invited me, the Holy Spirit said, go. And I went, and they were speaking, and they did their music, and I was feeling like really weird on the inside. It wasn't until the last 15 minutes when I got a chance to talk. And I talked, and the pastor was the first one tearing. And then afterwards, they invited me to the coffee room, and they said, you understand us. And they all came. I was like a little celebrity there. They said, when are you going to start your thing? We want to come to. And there were girls from the from the Gables, about an hour and 15 minutes away. They even came, or from UM, and they were like, well, you said it nailed it. When are you going to be speaking again? And I said, that's a whoa. See a whoa moment? That was, I can't get into all the details, but that was, they're all my friends on Facebook. All gay people, all those gay people are all my friends on Facebook.
I have a question to that though, because as a Christian, if you believe in the Bible, you're against that. So what would you gain by going to a place like that? That's
Right.
almost like a
Very good.
contradiction.
So this is the way it is. The way it is, if you have the prevailing culture, you shouldn't be afraid of whatever you want to call it, disagreements. Yeah, it's you'll find a creative way to influence the people, especially if you're sent by God. You'll find a creative way to influence people. Remember this: the kingdom of God is not meat or drink, which means it's not differences in matters of doctrinal issues. It's righteousness, absent of strife, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. If you serve God this way, you're approved by God, and men accept you. So the fact that they all accepted me even after I spoke, and of course if I spoke and there was tears, what does that mean? There was conviction, not condemnation, conviction. See, the thing is to do this without condemning people, making them feel bad, fighting against them, and disagreeing with the debate. And you know what actually helps you think this way? Read chapter 14 of Romans. I read the whole entire chapter numerous times, and that whole entire chapter starts off with, when you get together with somebody who doesn't have your same conviction, don't get together to dispute. And by the way, who are you to judge the servant of another person's, of another person? For his master, he could stand or fall, and God is able to keep them from. So basically, there's a caution when you go to a place like that. There's a caution. You don't go there to fight. Listen to me. I'm going to show you how the religious people are doing it wrong. You ready for this? I saw this on YouTube. You could YouTube this just so you could learn. There was there's a real big church, the Calvary Assemblies over there in Fort Lauderdale, and real big. So there was this little evangelist woman that had a little tent not far away from one of the churches. And she was like, yes, and we want a prosperity message, and you are going to get healed. And she did all that stuff. So the preacher, the assistant pastor from that church, came to her tent because he saw a lot of the people in the neighborhood there. And he talked to the woman, acting like he was in agreement with her. So he could take the microphone from her and then say something to the people. And right there and then, he started talking really nice, like if he was going along with the woman, everything she was doing. And then at somewhere, when the woman got comfortable with him holding the microphone, he said, and I'm going to pray that you don't listen to this woman no more, all her lies, her deceptive, and all this stuff. And he thinks that, God is happy with him. She's using the name of Jesus. Both of them are in error, just to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But that's not the way you do that. And then, then you had all these people come from third world countries that actually believe in this woman. We rebuke you. And they wanted to fight with him. And she had to break up, fights and stuff because they agreed with her. So I said, look at this. This guy is doing that to get glory. He's looking for progress without God sending him. See, progress without God is what? It's not progress indeed. Real progress is when you take God with you. God has to send you to a place like that. God will get glory and get a testimony out of it. But when you go by yourself because you want to be a fighter, because you want to show people that your religion is right, and the truth is, I'm jealous because my people are going into your tent, and I'm afraid you might deceive. That's the real truth. Mm-hmm. When you teach people the truth, you don't have to, listen, if we're teaching you the truth, you could go anywhere. You could go to Jehovah's Witness if God sends you there. You could go anywhere. You don't have to fear. There's nobody stealing sheep. You go where God sends you. If you're going and God is sending you, that's fine. That's your time. But make sure you take God with you.
No, I was crying to get back here on Sunday. I'm like, I need
Just so you know, we were in a prayer meeting at H's house the other day, and one of the women that I actually influenced to come to our meeting, while we were and she wanted to come to the prayer meeting at H's and Sean's house, and she couldn't because she already committed to helping out her real big church here for some Easter preparations, etc. And she texts me and she goes, "Oh my God, how I wish to be with you guys. What the heck is this?" In other words, she's saying, "What did you guys do to my mind? I can't experience peace in any type of religious setting that I go to. You guys messed me up." It's like this guy that was actually with us for 2 years, and he decided to go to another ministry, and he was enthusiastically telling me he was with us. He started with us. How enthusiastic he was about, "Robert, I'm going to go to this church. I believe God is sending me." He said that to me 5 times. I said, "Are you sure this time God is sending you?" "I know he's not, but I want to hear from him." "Oh yeah, I prayed about it. Oh yeah." I said, "Just so you know," because this is the way I talk to people. I don't manipulate or control anybody. I just said, "Just so you know, it's going to be very hard, especially with what you learned here for 2 years. It's going to be very hard for you to adapt." I got this. I said, "Just so you know, but God bless you, man. Amen. Go." 2 months later, I said, "How's it going?" He goes, "Oh, man, I quit." But then God asked me somewhere else. Now I got this other vision, and this is it. And I put all this together, and this is where I'm going to go. Oh, here goes another one. Going progress without God. And then I said, so then 2 months later, I said, "How did that work out?" He goes, "Yeah, that didn't work out so well either." I said, "Good." So then he comes up to me 3 months later. He goes, "Robert, I got it. I want to do my own thing now." He goes, "But I need a mentor. Could you mentor me?" And he's just yapping. Not once has he asked me a question or for an approval or a confirmation to do something. Not once, so I didn't answer him. I learned that also. So this is what I want to do, and I want you to mentor me, because that's the first thing I have to do. And everything he wanted to do was off. But I didn't say anything because he's not asking my opinion. So then I said, "Would you like to get together with you and your wife and have dinner with me?" You know why? Because if the wife comes out, the truth will come out. Yeah, he didn't allow that to happen. Because the wife, so then 3 months go by. I said, "So how are the plans going?" Because first of all, I'm mentoring you. You're not even seeking me or calling me on the phone. Boy, there's no accountability there. I'm not going to chase you. The mentee should chase his mentor. The mentor should always slow down to let the mentee catch up. Yeah. But you're not going to wait for somebody who's going to waste your time. Right. So how's that going? He says, "Well, you know what?" He says, I forgot where I was going. But he says, "Oh, but yeah, it's not time for that now." I said, "You know, I got to tell you one thing. Have you ever asked me if I'm your mentor? Whoever your mentor is, I'm not. You chose me. I didn't choose you." I said, "But whoever your mentor is, ask them. If you believe in having mentorship and submitting to authority, then maybe God will have some directive insight through the person that you're choosing to be your mentor. And if it's definitely not me, but whoever it is, be sensitive to that." I said, "Just so you know, I know you for this long. Now, one thing that you proposed, one thing was right or prospered. Just so you know." And I go, "Want to know something else? I knew it each time you brought them to me." I said, "But you never asked me." I said, "Wow, so now what are you doing?" He goes, "You know what? I'm just going to forget about all that. I'm going to work." I said, "Smart man." I said, "Smart man. Now I'm going to get a job." I said, "Good. How's the baby doing?" "Yeah, good." I said, "Feed that mug up in here. Feed that." By the way, I just want to say this to everybody. Babies should look plumpy. Look at that little girl right there. That's a healthy, and those kids.
Yeah.
That's healthy. If you're a child, if you're working the field of the family, feed your mugs. Or in Sean's case, don't feed him, and look at how much weight they lose. How many pounds do you lose?
21.
How much?
21.
That's blessed, but that's at that age, that's a blessing to feed them the right stuff, and that's fatherhood too, actually. But when they're little, they're supposed to look like little chunky buckaroos, like little Trista's baby. You see Trista's baby? That's all baby fat cheeks, big lips, and that I like to be around babies like that. You know what I'm saying? But when they're skinny and everything, they don't have baby fat. I get upset. I know there's a lot of young parents that don't really know certain things, but then bring them by the grandparents because they do know. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I can't have babies that don't have baby fat. They got to have all that little chunky so I can mess with them and that little buckaroos, but when they're real skinny and everything. Anyway, I don't know why I threw that in there, but that's part of the mountain, right? That's part of the fear society. Your baby should look plumpy. Remember that. Practice that. Plumpy babies, everybody. Only plumpy ones. Anyway, I think I conclude. God bless you. And remember, I think we got some good principles here that we can apply and take with us. And this is just kingdom influence, and we could do this. And remember, remind me. I'm going to talk to Tristan. Remind me about the 30-second commercial. I want everybody to have their own 30-second commercial.
They do that in Toastmasters, so that's good.
Okay, good, good. I didn't know. I never been to Toastmasters, but I know that's very important. And even when people ask me about my purpose, of what do you do for a living, every single time I give an answer, I always get an opportunity to influence. I'm afraid to answer people because I stay with them for like a few minutes because they keep asking me more and more and more, and it opens conversations about purpose. Everybody's looking at, the truth is I don't even have that's why these influential spiritual leaders, life coaches are hiring me to be their life coach because they never heard the message of purpose. And they're like, wow, I work with Tony Robbins and I got to hire you? And I told them I never listened to Tony Robbins, not once. Only one day I listened to him, 13-minute video, and it was 2 weeks prior to meeting Tony Robbins' biggest assistant, where he actually offered to triple her salary if she stayed on board. Amazing young lady. I love her too. She's like my little sister. She's amazing, and she's Muslim. Amazing. And now she talks to me about God, and she goes, God designed us this way. I say, look at the way she's talking. Just by being her friend, she's already changing her vocabulary. I love stuff like that. Influence, say influence. We have the dominating culture, so don't be afraid, especially if God is leading you and going before you. The bad thing is to progress without Him. God bless you all.